Hello and welcome back to another Toronto Blue Jays franchise episode. I don't know what happened to the off-season video. I had a whole thing going, and that was probably going to be one of my better videos because I love doing the off-season videos and just bringing in new players and letting go of some players and really putting my mind to work when it comes to bringing in players that can help this team win and getting rid of players before they decline or they're just not good enough to be on this team. But nevertheless, I'm going to go over kind of the moves that we made in the offseason, some of the league moves that happened. And I'm going to be going over the entire roster here as well. So first off, let's go to the transactions and take a look at some of the trades. Now let's look at free agency first for us. So first off, we went out and signed Garrett Hampson to a 1-year deal. We signed Brian O'Grady to a 2-year deal. We signed Ty France, Tristan Pompey, and Marcos Brito to 1-year deals. We didn't do much in free agency, as you can see. We had lots of roster spots already filled, and these are just the guys that I brought in for depth and for bench roles. Let's see here. Roster related. So we ended up releasing Caleb Joseph, and we ended up signing Jake Cronenworth. He has been removed from the 40-man roster. That's why he's plays on outright assignment waivers. Let's see. We sent down Yancy Almonte and Jesus Tinico to AA New Hampshire. We released center fielder Chavez Young. We re-signed Addison Russell, who was then traded, which I probably should show you the trades that we made. The first trade we made was sending Anthony Alford to the San Francisco Giants in exchange for right-handed pitcher Melvin Adone. The second trade we made was sending center fielder Jonathan Davis to the Washington Nationals in exchange for right-handed pitcher Austin Voth. The third trade we made was sending Addison Russell to the Seattle Mariners in exchange for third baseman Austin Shenton and relief right-handed pitcher Aaron Fletcher. And you can see the trade to Alex Manoah for Santiago Espinal. For whatever reason, Alex Manoah was eligible for the Rule 5 draft, when he was just drafted the year before last year. There's no reason why he should have been eligible for the Rule 5 draft. I didn't feel like he should be on the 40-man roster. So I left him exposed, and the Mets did pick him up. And I made this trade. I'm currently having a 30-man team control. So I can make any trade and really just veto any trade and move that I want that doesn't feel realistic to me. But Alex Manoah is back on our team. He is off the 40-man roster. He is in AA New Hampshire, and that's where he will be to start the year. Santiago Espinal is on the Mets, but he was going to get released anyway, so I threw him in just to get the deal done and to get matters done and over with. And as you can see, the last trade we made, we actually acquired Jake Cronenworth. We didn't sign him. We sent Nash Knight to the Texas Rangers in exchange for Jake Cronenworth, who is a left-handed relief pitcher. Let's see. What else could I go over? Yes, let's go over the rosters. So starting pitchers, we'll go from Major League to AAA to AA and all that kind of stuff. So here in AAA, the Major Leagues, our rotation is looking like Hyunjin Ryu, Nate Pearson, Sean Yamaguchi, Ryan Baraki, and Cal Quantrill. In AAA, we have Anthony Kay, Sean Reed-Foley, Jacob Waguespack, Yenzi Diaz, and John Harris. In AA, we have Alex Manoah, Simeon Woods-Richardson, Adam Kloffenstein, Joe Gatto, Patrick Murphy, and Eric Paradino. Then Single A, we have Kendall Williams, Jackson Glass, and Josh Worth. Relief pitchers in the Major Leagues, we have Austin Voth, A.J. Minter, who we signed. I don't know why it's not shown in the transaction, but we ended up signing him to a 1-year deal worth $700K. Hunter Strickland, Sam Tuivasa, Travis Bergen, Elvis Luciano, Josh Lindblom, We ended up signing him in free agency. You can see his stat line there from last year in Milwaukee in 64 games. He had a 7-2 record and 103 1/3 innings pitched. Had an ERA of 3.83 and a WHIP of 1.33 and a FIP of 3.89. He was in free agency. I signed him to be the long relief spot, and that's where he's going to be. In AAA, we have Tim Maiza, Trent Thornton, Sam Gaviglio, Kelvin Herrera, who we did sign in free agency as well, to a 1-year $750K deal. Thomas Pannone, Julian Merriweather, and Aaron Sanchez. As you can see, we have sent Jesus Tinico to AA, Sam Williams, Corey Copping, Zach Jansen, Yency Almonte, Hangen Danner, and in single A we have Lorenzo Cordero and Jake Cronenworth. Closers, we have Ken Giles, Melvin Adone in AAA, and Aaron Fletcher in AA. Our catchers, we have Danny Jansen and Reese McGuire. In AAA, it's Riley Adams and Patrick Cantwell. In AA, we have Alejandro Kirk and Gabriel Moreno. We have released Corbin Joseph. First baseman, we have Rowdy Tellez. In AAA, we have Ty France. In AA, we have Casey Clemens. And in single A, we have Felipe Sanchez. Second base, we have Kavan Biggio and Garrett Hampson. In AAA, we have Trent Giambroni, Andy Burns, and not Marcos Brito. He's going to be in single A, And in AA, we have Jalen Miller, then Ramon Polidio, and Marcus Brito. Third base, we have Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who did have a significant growth this offseason, as you can see there. He was signed to a 2-year contract worth $3 million. We have Mitch Walding. We brought in Jake Lamb. He's not on the 40-man roster, but he was signed to a 1-year $700K deal. Jordan Groshans is still in AA, and Austin Shenton will be in single A. Shortstop, we have Bo Bichette, who was signed to the exact same deal as the Vladimir Guerrero Jr. We have Kevin Smith, Gray Kessinger, Otto Lopez, Miguel Geraldo, Logan Wormuth, and Aurelvis Martinez. In left, we have Lourdes Gurriel Jr. and Billy McKinney. In AAA, we have Brian O'Grady. In AA, we have Brock Lundqvist and Tristan Pompey. In single A, we have our draft picks in Alex Fernandez and Keith Ryder. In center, we have Teoscar Hernandez and Derek Fisher. In AAA, we have Michael Geddes and Josh Palacios. And in AA, we have Jordan Adams. In right, we have Randall Grichuk. And in AAA, we have Gabriel Guerrero. In AA, it's Griffin Conine, Demi Oramoli. And in single A, we have Dasan Brown. And we brought in some new coaches. Charlie Montoya was still the manager. Our new hitting coach is Nigel Byrne. As you can see his plus and minuses on your screen. We brought in a new first base coach and a new third base coach. Pete Walker, Charlie Montoya, Pete Walker, and Sammy Calzado stayed on the staff. They're going to be given at least one more year to prove their worth. What else could I show you? I can show you our contract situation. We ended up re-signing Ken Giles in free agency. Probably should have mentioned that after we did trade him to San Diego in the Cal Quantrill Michael Geddes trade. We did end up signing him back to a 4-year, $32 million deal. He's going to be our closer once again. As said, Brian O'Grady was signed to a 2-year deal. Kevin Smith was sent to that extension last year. Not much huge contract. We only have $83 million on the payroll. And most of that's going to Hyunjin Ryu and Randall Grichuk. I could show you some of the league transactions, I guess. I don't know if all those will show up. Let's go down to the bottom here. You see the trades that we made. And there was this trade here with the White Sox and Cardinals, where the White Sox acquired Colton Wong for the recently signed Corey Kluber. I decided to veto that trade, and I sent them both back. I guess I forgot the Adam Engel part, but that's fine. You see the trade we made with the Mariners, the Mets, and the Brewers made a trade with the Phillies. You can see at the top, the Phillies acquired center fielder prospect Pablo Abreu and they sent third baseman Gene Segura to the Brewers. And here was probably the biggest trade of the offseason. The Cleveland Indians have traded Francisco Lindor to the Atlanta Braves in exchange for third baseman Johan Camargo, starting pitching prospect Ian Anderson, and outfield prospect Christian Pache. That's probably one of the bigger trades I've seen in a franchise simulation. We can go over some of the more noticeable moves that I remember anyway. I know the Phillies made a couple of moves. They brought in Michael Brantley to a 1-year, $8.4 million deal. You can see his stats there and how he did last season with Houston. They also brought in Justin Turner, who was with the LA Dodgers last year. You can see his stats there. And he was signed to a 1-year, $7.5 million contract. They also went out and brought in Anthony Rizzo. You can see his stats there. He was with the Cubs last year. You can see his stats there. And his contract. He was signed to a 4-year deal. Those are brought in Francisco Cervelli. That's all about I can see that's noticeable. So now I guess we can kind of go in order here. Probably should have done that in the first place. The Baltimore Orioles selected Drew Jackson out of the Rule 5 draft. I know that. It says he was with Baltimore in 2019, but I guess he was with another team in 2020, then reselected in 2021. That's about it for them. They didn't really bring in anybody besides Drew Jackson. Boston, no real big moves here. They brought in Kike Hernandez, the super utility guy, signed him to a 2-year deal worth $13 million. Brought in Tyler Flowers, Jack Mayfield. The Yankees surprisingly didn't do much. They went and brought in Alex Wood, who had a very good year with the Dodgers last year. He was signed to a 3-year deal worth $21.3 million. That's about all I can see. Tampa Bay didn't really do much. Doesn't look like it. Wander Franco is now in the Major League squad. They made a trade with Cincinnati for Wade Miley. I'm not sure who they give up, but it couldn't have been anybody really valuable. I'm hoping anyway. That's about it. Then there's us. Then we have the White Sox, who, as I said before, signed Corey Kluber to a 2-year deal. Jose Alvarado, they ended up signing to a 1-year deal. And I think that's about it. They did sign Henderson Alvarez, Billy Hamilton, Freddie Galvis. Yeah, that's about it. Cleveland obviously made that trade for Francisco Lindor, so he's not on the roster anymore. But no real big moves. They did bring in Daniel Megden, who had a very good year in Oakland last year. No real big changes that I see. The Tigers, nothing really. The Royals, nothing really. The Twins, brought in Aroldis Vizcaino. That's about it. The Angels didn't really do much. Jordan Luplow they brought in, but that's really about it. The Oakland Athletics, who I should mention won the World Series last year over the Chicago Cubs in a 5-game series. So this team did win the World Series last year over the Cubs. No real changes there. The Mariners, no real changes. The Rangers, excuse me. Again, no real we're not seeing much changes here in the AL. The Astros, Unless, of course, I'm skipping over big name players, which could always be. The Astros running Yoenis Cespedes. I like that fit. Tyro Estrada. That's about it. And then we have the Braves here, who brought in Francisco Lindor, who makes this a team to beat in the NL, in my opinion. But that's about it. Brought in Kevin Pillar, Albert Almora Jr. Okay, Marlins. Didn't really bring anyone in. By the looks of it, Jose Peraza, Brock Holt, Bryson Stott, who they did select in the Rule 5 draft. I should mention that. He was selected out of Philly. Or from Philly, I should say. The Nationals. Didn't really... Jimmy Nelson, I guess. Eric Skoglund. That's about it. The Mets signed Mookie Betts to that enormous 7-year contract. See his stats there from last year and his attributes. He's in New York now. He's in Queens. They brought in Brendan Drury, a former Blue Jay. Moving on, Philly. You saw, I already went over them. The Cubs didn't really bring anyone in. They brought back Tommy LaStella, Cheryl Cotton, Taiwan Walker, Jackie Bradley Jr., Matt Adams. The Reds didn't really go out and get anybody that I can see anyway. The Brewers brought in Shin Segura in that trade with Philadelphia. But that's all about I can see. They brought in John Birdie, Darwin's and Hernandez. There was that trade with the Red Sox that they made. They brought in Darwin's and Hernandez and somebody else. Who was it? Oh, that's going to drive me crazy. Who was it now? They brought in Darwin's and Hernandez. And I don't think it was another reliever, but I could be wrong. No, it wasn't. This one's going to drive me crazy. I can't see it now. It was a 2-for-1. These guys got 2 players. I can't see it now. No, I don't remember. Okay, moving on. The Pirates did pirate things and not bring anybody in besides Greg Allen, Scooter Gennett. Cardinals pretty much held on to this very same roster as last year. Alex Avila was brought in, but that's about it. The Diamondbacks, relatively the same roster. Hernan Perez was brought in. Looks like Chris Davis. Yeah, that looks like that's about it. The Rockies brought in Chris Archer, James McCann, Brian Goodwin, Didi Gregorius. They held on to Tanner Roark. The Dodgers brought in JT Realmuto. They brought in Garrett Richards. And that looks like that's about it. They also brought in Daniel Palka, Mason Williams. The Padres. It doesn't look like they really brought anyone in. Yasiel Puig, Anthony Bass, Ryan Braun. So it looks like a lot of veteran guys. Then the Giants to round things out. So Mingo German, They brought in Eric Sogard, Michael Waka, Ryan Dull, JP Crawford, who they brought in. Okay, we can take a look at the remaining free agents, I guess. Not really much to go over. I'll just kind of scroll through it on your screen. I'll go down to the 70 overalls. Good. I think that's really about it. We're still at spring training. I could do spring training and I'll show you the open day rosters and all that kind of stuff, but this is pretty much it as it is. I really think that's about it. I show you the rosters, I show you the league and how those moves are shaping up. I think that is going to be it. I do again want to apologize for what happened to the off-season video. It would have been a lot more fun to go over, and I will assure it will not happen again. I want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch this video. Subscribe for more content. Please leave a like and comment on what you thought, and I will see you guys in the next episode where it will be opening day.